to almost double fares. Kenya Railways said yesterday that it plans to increase the amount that passengers pay when traveling from 700 to 1,200 Kenya shillings for the economy class. We discussed the reasons for that fare hike, among other issues, with Kenya Railways Managing Director Atanas Maina shortly. And today is the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, a United Nations-sponsored annual awareness day that takes place on the 6th of February as part of the UN's efforts to eradicate FGM. It was first introduced in 2003, and it is part of a combined effort by the UN to meet one of its Sustainable Development Goals, which is the elimination of FGM, a key target under Goal 5. Now, a competent panel will join me to discuss where Kenya fits in the fight against FGM during the next hour. Well, let's immediately take you to the courts now, where the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boinet, and the Director of Criminal Investigation, George Kinoti, are expected in court any time now to explain circumstances surrounding their failure to release NASA activist and, of course, NRM self-declared General Miguna Miguna. High Court Judge Luka Kimaru gave the order yesterday when a group of more than 10 lawyers appeared before him to protest failure by the state to release their colleague who was granted bail on Friday but is still locked up. He wants the two to explain why they should not be held liable for disobeying an order on Miguna's release. Now, Miguna was arrested on Friday morning at his Runda home. Those are live images now from the courts and on phone. Zuya Walter will now give us an update. Zuya, good morning. Can you see the presence or an indication that the Inspector General of Police and the Director of Criminal Investigations are nearby, are about to make their way to the courts?
Now, good morning to you, Wahiga Mahura. There is no indication that the two police officers, that is IG Joseph Boinet and this George Kinoti, indication of them they coming to court. But earlier, I was able to talk to one of the lawyers, Peter Kaluma, who is also representing Miguna Miguna, who says that there are indications that Miguna Miguna is within Milimani, but he has not been able to see them. Now, during this session, we expect lawyers from LSK to file an application to have them enjoying in the case with interested parties. Remember, yesterday they did that, but they are trying to bring that application in a formal way. So we expect lawyer Haron Ruby and Julie Soweto, who is also here, to at least make that application. Then we see, as you can see from the screens, we are seeing lawyers donning purple ribbons. They do this when standing in solidarity with one of them. This is considering that Miguna Miguna is also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So what we're expecting now is to see Justice Luka Kimaru coming here and maybe the application being made, and we see whether the two officers, that is Boinet and Kinoti, will be coming to court or not. So just we will keep you updated when they come.
Okay, Zuya, but tell us a little bit about what happened yesterday. Towards the afternoon or in the evening, we got some reports that, and of course, the reports were not confirmed, that Miguna had been released from Lari police station. He was headed to the courts. Tell us a little bit about what was happening in regards to that, because journalists stayed outside the court up until the evening, expecting Miguna to be brought to the courts.
Okay, yesterday, when the matter ended, there were rumors that, I call them rumors because people see that on social media that Miguna has been released. But we stayed here until 8 p.m. when the lawyers led by Chris and Beta managed to address the media, and he said that there were no indications that Miguna has been released from wherever he's at. Even the relatives, the councils representing Miguna, they do not know where Miguna is, even as we speak now.
Okay, thank you so much. So when do we expect the judge to step into that particular chamber? What are some of the potential scenarios today? If the Inspector General does not show up, if the DCI does not show up, from what you've seen in previous cases, what do you expect to see? And of course, if they show up, that could change everything.
In previous cases, when officers are not doing what the courts are saying, then maybe orders will be released by the High Court judge to have the officers arrested. But in this case, we don't know if the orders will be issued. We don't know who will have the opportunity or the guts to arrest Joseph Boinet and George Kinoti. So we just expect anything from Justice Luka Kimaru, considering yesterday he said that he admitted that the two are not doing what the court is said. And we ask the police officers to at least try and work together with the court to have this matter end.
That's right. Thank you so much, Suya. Justice Luka Kimaru had asked that both of them be there by 9 o'clock. It is now 9:22, over 22 minutes since the time they were told to be there. It's beginning to look like they might not show, but we'll just have to wait and see. We'll keep our cameras trained on that courtroom and give you more updates as and when we get them. Well, from the Milimani courts, we take you now to Nyeri County, specifically Sagana, where Jubilee nominations for the Rogoro ward are ongoing, or the Jubilee Party today conducting its nominations for candidates bidding to participate in the upcoming by-election for the Rogoro ward MCA position in Nyeri County. You will recall that the former Rogoro ward MCA, Peter Weru, collapsed and died last year after delivering a speech during the Jamhuri Day celebrations. Now, Martin Munene is covering proceedings there and joins us live. Martin, good morning. You indicated a bit earlier on to me that the voting has already started. Tell us about the numbers and the process there today.
All right, very good morning to you, Wahiga Maura, and like you rightly put it, we're coming to you live from Nyeri County and specifically Sagana Primary School in Rogoro Ward, where, like you said, today we are witnessing the nominations or the primaries of the Jubilee Party in this particular region, following the death, of course, of Honorable Peter Weru. And today, in this particular place is one of the polling stations within the county or within the ward that this particular exercise is taking place. And I'm just going to take you very briefly through what is going on here. Where I stand, behind me are the ballot boxes where voters are actually casting their ballot. But just for a better picture, let me just take you around what is actually going on. Like you can see, there are voters here who have actually come to actually cast their vote. This is the first stop that they actually get to when they come here. We've got their details actually being inspected, and then after that, what happens is that they actually try to trace them or locate them in the registers. We've got two sets of registers here. We've got the IEBC register, that is the big book that you can see, but we've also got another set or another register here that is a little bit smaller on the side. This is the Jubilee register. And so once they actually identified from either of these two, and especially the larger book, because earlier there were complaints that there are some names of people who are missing in the Jubilee register, and so they have also to use the IEBC register. Then they're given a ballot which they use to vote. In this particular ballot that is actually stamped by these officials right here. Then, of course, after that, then they come to another place, and there is a desk here that I'm going to be showing you shortly, where they are actually coming and marking their ballot. And once they mark their ballot, of course, the next stage will be casting it. But behind me here, you'll see a set of people, a group of people right here. These are the party agents representing the various candidates in this particular award or contest. We've got seven actually aspirants in this particular contest. We've got one woman who is actually a sister to the late Weru, and then other six who are actually male. Now, after that, we come to the next or the last stage of this voting exercise, whereby you find that the voter actually casts their vote, and then after they cast their vote, of course, they proceed to the other side for marking to ensure that they do not come back to vote again, and then of course they leave this particular room. And if you can see behind me, Wahiga Maura, you will see a line of people. If my cameraman can just help us see that, let us just walk slowly to that particular area, so that you're able to see or get a picture of what exactly is going on. Wahiga, I'm now actually getting outside of the voting station, and you will see actually a queue of people who've actually come to exercise their democratic right. So I can say or confidently report that the numbers, according to the PO, are actually impressive, and we expect to see the numbers, of course, grow as the day goes on. In this particular station, the area member of parliament, Rigathi Gachagua, actually casts his vote here, and so we expect that he'll be coming to exercise his right a little bit later. So Wahiga, those or basically that is what is happening here in this particular ward of this particular station. We understand voting is going on elsewhere without hitches, but we'll be here, of course, until this exercise actually comes to an end, and we'll keep giving you details of exactly what is going on and giving you the details as they happen. Back to you in studio, Wahiga Maura.
Thank you so much, Martin Munene. Glad to know everything is going well in that particular nomination process, Jubilee Party nomination process for the Rogoro ward. The MCA who had that particular position passed on last year after giving a speech on Jamhuri Day. Well, we now take you to Mombasa County, where Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter has just finished addressing members of the National Assembly's Energy Committee at a city hotel. Let's listen into the proceedings there briefly.
Indeed, we are very excited to meet you today. We are ready and yearning to learn. Just as we told you the other time, we don't know much about the sector, but this morning we are expecting the PS, Dr. Njoroge, to put us through the structures, the vision, the programs that are in the energy sector. And yesterday we had a very fruitful discussion, and we realized that to achieve the big four, energy is paramount. So we hope that through the budgeting process, our sector will be well budgeted for, so that we can achieve our objectives. Now, the rules of the House still remain like yesterday. If your phone rings, 1,000. If you sleep, but I know in the morning nobody will be sleeping, we are all fresh. The fine still stands at 2,000. So we want to welcome you, Dr. Njoroge, to take us through the session. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Chair. And let me take cue to also congratulate the members of Parliament, because most of and welcome them on board, and also just mention that we have had a very good working relationship with the members of Parliament in the ministry. We had a very good and very facilitating committee, and I have no doubt we are friends of all of you, and we do know that we are going to work together and create an enabling environment for the big four, and also change or transform the lives of Kenyans by making sure that energy, which is an enabler of the very many sectors, is available at affordable cost. So I will just take you through, as Waziri has said, the highlight. This is really a highlight. When we engage deeply in Naivasha, we shall even have some notes about electricity, so that when we talk about a kilowatt hour, or when we talk about a megawatt, we will try to reduce it to the understanding of a common man or woman, so that you can be able to appreciate when we are saying that at Okalia we are going to commission a plant of 70 megawatts or 140 megawatts. What does that mean? So we will take you through that in the next retreat with the CEOs and all the other stakeholders in the energy sector. But for today, I will just go through the highlights, very high level presentation of what is our vision as a ministry, our mission, what are the institutions that fall under the ministry, what are their mandates, what do they do. I think if we can be able to appreciate that high level structure, then as we come down, we will be able to appreciate the role of this very important ministry in the Vision 2030, and also in all the initiatives of the country. Because there is nowhere in the initiatives of this country that you will find energy absent. Energy will always be there. So this is our mission, to facilitate provision of clean, sustainable, affordable, reliable, and secure energy services for the national development while protecting the environment. We have since added to these variables competitively priced, because we noted that even if we may have affordable energy and it's not competitive, if the price is not competitive, then we will not be able to attract foreign direct investors. And in manufacturing, which is one of the big four, we really need the foreign direct investment so that people come from far and wide, invest in industries, and therefore make sure that the GDP grows. Because the importance of energy is acknowledged even by economists. Economists always say that there is a correlation between the growth of the GDP and the consumption of energy, what they normally call the per capita consumption of energy. You will find the countries with a very high GDP have very high per capita consumption of energy. Our per capita is now about maybe 135 kilowatt hours. That is to say, for all the energy that we consume in this country, if you divide it by the population, you get one person consuming about 135 kilowatt hours per year. And that is very little. Most of the countries which are developed will be consuming in terms of thousands. We are consuming in terms of hundreds. So for us to enhance our GDP, even our consumption, per capita consumption, must go up. And the only way for that to go up is to address the entire supply chain, which we shall see as we proceed. And our vision is affordable, quality energy for all Kenyans. The issue of affordability is coming in because this is really where it hurts the Kenyans. You have noted that Kenyans are very sensitive to the price. Even when the price does not go up, if one of the items in the price goes up, notwithstanding the fact that in totality the price has not gone up, it will be on the first page of the papers. There is that sensitivity of affordability. And I think that is our main focus, addressing the price. Most of the initiatives that we are doing addresses the reliability, adequacy, and also the price. This is the drawing that shows the energy sector, the way it is structured, starting from the ministry itself. Now it is the Ministry of Energy. It used to be the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. And then below the ministry, at the high level, we have two bodies which run across the entire institutions of the ministry. That is the Energy Tribunal, which deals basically with arbitration. If there are any issues between all these institutions, amongst them, or between them and the customers, or between them and the investors, then that is handled by the Energy Tribunal. Any disputes, arbitration. Then we have got the Energy Regulatory Commission. And the Energy Regulatory Commission, as the name indicates, is the regulator. Is the one that defines the interrelationships between the various organizations, considering the fact that electricity and energy are supply chains. It is a chain of processes, right from generation, transmission, distribution, and retail. That whole chain is very interdependent. That is, transmission will depend on generation. Distribution will depend on transmission. And retail, which is the customer, will also depend on all those. There is that interdependence. And because of that interdependence, and the need to make sure that all these bodies are sustainable. That is financially, technically, and otherwise. Then the regulator ensures that each and every one of these institutions is sustainable, so that we can be able to operate the system. Because if we lose any of this, I did say that it's a supply chain. So if we lose any of them, that means you will not be able to achieve your objectives. Starting from the generation, we have got KenGen, which is the main public generator, and KenGen has got several power plants all over the country. There are power plants here in Mombasa, thermal power plants. They have got the main geothermal power plants in Naivasha. They have got all the hydros along the River Tana. And then they also have hydros in the western catchment of the country. That is Sagoro, Sodomero area. And then they also have Tapwell. So all those stations generate power, and so that that power is able to be accessed to all the Kenyans wherever they are. That power is injected into the grid, what we call the grid network. All these wires you see going across the country, their main role is to accommodate all the power that is generated. And because those wires run along the entire country, we are then able to transmit and finally distribute that power in all the corners of the country. There are some areas in the country which do not have the grid, although that is work which is in progress. There are very many areas which we have accessed the grid, which never used to have access in the recent past. Like we did Garissa about 2 years ago. We were able to commission the line, the first line to the northeastern province went to Garissa. We have also been able to go up to Rokcha. We did a line from Takwel, a 66 kV line up to Rokcha. And you know Rokcha is the home of the petroleum deposits. So we have been able also to make some milestones in terms of spreading the grid to all the parts of the country, even to the very remote areas. In the program that we have with the Ketraco, there are very many lines that are running.
Well, we interrupt that event at a Mombasa hotel to take you back to the courts, where at this moment, the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boinet, and the Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kinoti, have still not appeared in the court, even though they were summoned yesterday by Justice Luka Kimaru to explain circumstances surrounding their failure to release NASA activist Miguna. Let's listen in. Well, we apologize for that. Just to give you some background to this, the High Court Judge Luka Kimaru yesterday gave an order when a group of more than 10 lawyers appeared before him to protest failure by the state to release their colleague who was granted bail on Friday but was still locked up. He wants the two to explain why they should not be held liable for disobeying an order on Miguna's release. Miguna was arrested on Friday morning at his Runda home. Now, in terms of some of the updates that we are getting from our reporter on the ground, even as we want to bring you those images as soon as we're able to get them to you, we have seen that the Law Society of Kenya has asked to be enjoined in this case as well. Remember, Miguna is an advocate, and thus falls under the Law Society of Kenya, is a body that he belongs to, and they would like to be enjoined in this matter as well. And we are also seeing that in terms of the office of the DPP, Mutuku has stated that we have made attempts to serve the Inspector General of Police and the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, or the Director of Criminal Investigation. We also served the Attorney General. Let's see if we can take you back to the courts now.
The order required the personal attendance of the IG and DCI. And the two have chosen to send very senior officers to this court in compliance. And the reason I'm told is because the two are attending a national security meeting, which was scheduled. Yes. My Lord, I wish to mention also that Stanley Cheriot, the IG Director of Legal Affairs, is willing to explain to the court on oath about the whereabouts of the subject of this application. So that, my Lord, if need be, he may be examined. That is all, my Lord. Unless there's something the court would want me to respond.
There's that technical hitch. That is Nicholas Mutuku, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, just talking a little bit about why the Inspector General of Police and the Director of Criminal Investigations are not there. He states that they have sent senior officers in their place because they are not able to make it because they are attending a security conference. And that's a little bit about what he was talking about before that interruption. We can give you more updates from matters in the courts. And still in the court, Ruaraka Member of Parliament TJ Kajwang is said to be charged in court today for his role in last Tuesday's oath by NASA leader Raila Odinga. He's expected to be charged in court with participating in an illegal assembly and administering an illegal oath. The MP who was arrested at the Milimani law courts last week on Wednesday says he feared for his life while in the hands of police officers.
At least I got a seat to sit, and the lights were lit, so nobody could interfere with my physique.
So the following day?
Then the following day by 4, they took me, whisked me out, and drove me around in the plantations, in the coffee plantations, and then brought me here. They drive very recklessly. I think that they think that people will fear or because somebody drives like 150 and it is night and is alone on the road. But I think they just thought that would. I told them that doesn't disturb me. So by 5 I was here. By 6 I was opening these doors. I'm one of the people that opened the doors. Then I was here. You guys showed it. You saw me down there. In a short while, they took me again, and then they drove around. Then now they were taking me to Ngong. Then I said, yes, now I'm going to be a Musando. I think for the first time I feared. I said, oh. So I was looking around and saying, no, I'm not going to die alone. If somebody thinks I'm going to die alone here, I will die with someone. But the guy who was sitting next to me told me that he's actually my constituent. And then now I relaxed. I said, okay, now it will be war with war. So this guy, this chariot was driving very crazily. And these fellows who were beside me were like, "Wait, wacha ujinga ya Jubilee hapa. Who are you impressing?" So we went round and got to Ngong. Got to Ngong. They kept me in the vehicle. They kept me in the vehicle. And I didn't know whether, well, now I knew I was in the court presence, but I was still in the vehicle. So at about 1, there is a basement and underground. So they put me down there and they shoved me to the courtroom. It's the first time I was seeing the world, I was in the courtroom.
Ruaraka Member of Parliament TJ Kajwang narrating his experience last week. He was arrested at the Milimani law courts on Wednesday, and he said that while he was in the hands of the police, he feared for his life. Now, from Parliament, the Third Way Alliance has written to the Clerk of the National Assembly to present its views on the vetting of persons nominated to the position of Cabinet Secretary. In a letter, party leader Ekuru Okot says they are a major stakeholder in the political space and that it is important they participate in the process. The committee vetting the nominated CSs will vet them on Thursday and Friday this week. On Monday, this committee, chaired by the Speaker, said it had received 1 affidavit and 6 letters raising issues on the nominations of some cabinet secretaries. Additionally, the committee has received a letter from the Kenya Human Rights Commission on the same. Meanwhile, Tourism CS Najib Balala has condemned the killing of an American investigator into the illegal global trafficking of ivory and rhino horn. Esmond Bradley Martin, famed for his dangerous work, was stabbed to death over the weekend at his home in Karen. Balala has described the late Bradley as one who had written invaluable reports that helped in the conservation work and tracking of illicit trade in ivory. 4 suspects are already in police custody and are expected to be presented in court today in connection with the killing. Well, our condolences to his family and friends. Now let's take you to Kwale County, where our Nikki Gitonga is on standby to let us know a bit more about some Mkwakwani residents, who are demanding for compensation for the expansion of the Ukunda airstrip because some locals will need to be relocated. Nikki Gitonga, this being a sensitive matter, and we've seen this playing out in different parts of the country whenever the government, whether national or county, need to put a project in place and they need to discuss with the locals how relocation will be done. What are the specifics regarding that negotiation now over the Ukunda airstrip?
Okay, thank you, Wahiga. We are getting you live from Mkwakwani Primary School, where residents here have converged to discuss a sensitive issue about the relocation that is supposed to be done by the government concerning to pave way for the expansion of Ukunda airstrip. That is, according to the government, they want to set it to be to an international standard, and this will affect over 300 families here who will be forced to move out. But however, we also here at Mkwakwani Primary School, it's also going to be relocated about like 500 meters from where we are, where the new school has already been constructed, and we are hoping maybe from 2 months or 3 months from now, they are going to be relocated. But residents, during a meeting like last year, Land Commission Chair Mohamed Swazuri told the resident that the compensation will not take place because, according to them, maybe according to Land NLC Chair, maybe the land belongs to the government. However, the residents are still demanding that they need compensation because they had set up their structures here. They have lived here for so many years, and they need something that at least they can walk away with it. With me here, I have some of the locals here. They're going to talk to tell us more about it and maybe what the government is supposed to do. Pengine kwa majina tu kwa kifupi utatueleza ili swala zima la nyinyi kuhamishwa hapa. Nakushikia.
Kwa majina naitwa Nyangasi Mohamed. Mimi ndio nasimamia hiyo shule mpya yenye inajengwa. Na bahati nzuri contractor, tunamshukuru contractor, amefanya kazi nzuri. Shule imejengwa, imeisha. Sasa ile kitu imebakia, tuna family zetu zinaishi hapa, ambapo sasa hizi family tunahofia kuwa hatuombi mabaya, lakini ndege ikikosea njia ikigusa hapo yani kwa kweli Mkwakwani itakuwa ina matanga mengi. Na hiyo issue ndio tunasema shule imejengwa, imeisha. Kitu tunataka ni shule, watoto wahamishwe waende shule mpya. No, sasa hatujui ile shida, na kuna mambo ambayo walikuwa wamesema kuwa pesa ya malipo ya watu wa Mkwakwani, village ya Mkwakwani, pesa ilikuwa tayari. Baadaye Swazuri alikuja akasema hakuna malipo. Kitu tunashangaa ni kwamba Malindi, sehemu nyingine zote zinajengwa viwanja vya ndege, watu wanalipwa, lakini Mkwakwani hii ndio inaambiwa watu hawalipwi. Sasa sijui sisi tupelekwe nchi gani ndio tukalipwe. Langu ni hilo, lakini shule kwa kweli contractor amefanya bidii, amejenga shule imeisha, tena shule nzuri. Sasa tunashindwa kwa nini watoto hawapelekwi kule, kuna shida gani?
Okay, we can also get another resident here. Pengine utaanza kwa majina kitu.
Kwa majina, mimi naitwa Hamis Juma Mwaviko. Mimi ndiye katibu wa kijiji hapa Mkwakwani. Ili swala la uwanja wa ndege, tunashukuru kwanza Airport Authority kwa kutujengea skuli. Hiyo kama ridhaa ya skuli hii iliyo hapa kugurishwa. Lakini swala nyeti haswa, uwanja huu wa ndege kama si wazuri alivyodai kwamba hatuwezi kupata malipo, tunashangaa ya kuwa huu uwanja miaka na miaka hajajua historia ya huu uwanja kubuniwa. Serikali yenyewe ilikuja ikaukuta huu uwanja tayari unatumika, na huu uwanja walioanzisha uwanja huu ni baadhi ya wazungu kadhaa waliokuja wakaomba wazee wetu wa kale hapa, wakakubaliwa kutua ndege zao kwa sababu ndege zilikuwa zikitua baharini. Wakati wa high tides ilikuwa ni vigumu ndege kushuka. Walipokuwa kifika baharini waliona hii sehemu ni tambarare, ndipo walipoweza kuomba wazee. Iliendelea hadi mwaka 96 ndipo airdromes ikajiingiza. Airdromes kujiingiza, hata title yao walitoa mwaka 96. Lakini kabla ya hapo mkoloni alipoingia hapa alikuta hayo maeneo ambayo hivi sasa ni uwanja yalikuwa ni makazi ya wakulima, ilikuwa ni makazi watu wanaishi hapo, wanafuga mifugo yao hapo. Na la kushangaza ni kwamba hakuna hata, tulichunguza, hakuna hata minutes ambazo kwamba wakazi walishirikishwa kuwa watatenga eneo la kuwa uwanja wa ndege. Na tunashangaa leo bwana mwenyekiti wa ardhi akidai kwamba hatuwezi kulipwa. Tunashangaa kwa sababu ardhi hiyo hekari 115 ni za asili ya wakazi wetu hapa Mkwakwani. Kwa hiyo mpaka dakika hii tunaomba shule itakapogurishwa hapa, wakazi nao wahakikisha wamelipwa ridhaa yao kwa sababu ni haki yao kama vile walivyolipwa watu wa Malindi na kwingineo.
Pengine kwa kifupi mzee.
Mimi tusaidie mimi chaomba kutoka. Nimezaliwa hapa Mkwakwani. Masikitiko ni kuwa sisi hapa hatuna maana yoyote ambayo tunasimamiliwa. Tunakaa tu kama watu tumeuzwa hapa. Sasa hiyo ndio inanistaajabisha sana. Kwa hivyo furaha kubwa ni kuwa hii skuli yetu yahamishwe kwa sababu ni ya Mkwakwani, sio ya mtu hii. Tunataka turudi kule haraka sana. Iwezekane wapi.
Asante mzee, pengine na umesimama kwa muda. Tuniambie dukuduku lako ni gani?
Kwa majina naitwa Hamisi Salimu Mwadodo. Masikitiko yangu ya mimi ni kulingana mimi mtu si mtoto mdogo. Si historia ya huu uwanja tunajua vile ilikuwa. Lakini sasa tunaona ajabu kama sisi tunaambia uwanja si wa wenyeji wa hapa. Kwa hivyo hatupati malipo. Na kama hatupati malipo na shamba yetu yalikuwa hapa, sasa itakuwaje? Kwa hivyo hivi mzee nikisema kama mbele machozi yanatoka kulingana na hiyo malipo. Hatutaki kulipwa kwa nini? Kuna njia tutapelekwa sisi ambao tutupata wenyewe tena uwanja.
Waiga, maybe let me get the one last person here. He really wants to talk about it. Pengine kwa kifupi tu tueleze.
Labda swala lako zima hapa Mkwakwani, kama ni swala la kiwanja cha ndege, hili ni swala ambalo saizi halina tofauti, kwa sababu tushakutana na mwenyekiti bwana Swazuri, kwa sababu already ilikuwa tumefanya communication, tumekaa kamiti tofauti na masuala yetu tumeyapeleka paka kwa wizara ya transport. Kwa hivyo ninaamini kwa vyovyote vile kupitia uongozi wa wakati huu hizi haki zetu tutazipata. Yes. Otherwise kulikuwa na tofauti habari ya uwanja, lakini kulikuwa hawajapata the true picture. Lakini the true picture, uwanja huu over 50 years wameutumia bila ya malipo, na hakuna hata siku moja tuliwahi kutenga ardhi hii kama ya uwanja wa ndege.
Asante. Time is not with us. Waiga, those are some of the queries from the locals here concerning them being compensated by the government to pave way for the expansion of Ukunda airstrip. That's all we have for now from Kwale. Back to Waiga.
Thank you so much, Nikki Gitonga. Clearly, they had a lot on their minds and chests that they wanted to unload in this, but their voice has been heard. We're also following for you another matter in the courts, not just the one regarding the Inspector General of Police and the Director of Criminal Investigations. The legal team for the Royal Media Services and the Africa Digital Networks are back in court today after the government has continued to defy 2 court orders requiring it to reinstate the transmission of its 2 TV stations. On Saturday, Royal Media Service lawyers had a difficult time delivering the court orders to the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boinet, and the Communications Authority. The serving of these orders was blocked, with state agencies roughing up court processors and journalists. We will take you there. We apologize once again. There's a challenge with network coverage within the courts, but we'll be giving you live updates as soon as we get them. Well, let's now focus on a developing story out of South Africa. And unless something miraculous happens, the city of Cape Town, an iconic international tourism destination in South Africa's second economic hub, will run out of water in a couple of months. The situation is dire. Cape Town has more than 4 million residents. They've been told to cut their daily limits from 87 litres to 50 litres per person. That's roughly about a 6-minute shower with a low-flow showerhead in a city where people line up with containers at outdoor springs and have to leave toilets unflushed. Now, should the water stop, Cape Town will become the world's first major city in which taps literally run dry. Now, joining us to talk a little bit more about this is a resident of Cape Town, Joy Mburia, a businesswoman, a PhD student. I trust that you can hear me, Joy. Good morning.
Hi, Wahiga. Today.
Good. Many thanks indeed for finding time for us. Can you describe for us an average day in the life of a resident of Cape Town?
I mean, you wake up in the morning and the reality the water crisis is with us, and we are now down from 87 litres per person per day to 50 litres per day, and that means 2 minutes shower, not 6 minutes shower, 2 minutes shower, 2 litres of water to drink, just basically making sure that you are sticking to your 50 litres per day, because then you're not if you're not doing that, then you're not contributing to the overall outcome of the expected day zero. So we are still expecting day zero, which they had until yesterday was in April, but now has been moved to May because agricultural use has dropped down the water usage.
Okay. So what is day zero for the benefit of our audience? What is day zero?
In Cape Town, and all of us are going to have to queue to one of the 200 set stations where you have to collect your water, your 25 litres per day of water per person.
Okay, you mentioned day zero. Can you tell us a bit more about what is this day zero? What does it mean?
Day zero basically means the day the dumps right now are at 25%. Day zero means the day they will feel that the water is not enough anymore to go to the residents and to anyone else in Cape Town, and they will just automatically switch off all the taps, and everybody will have to queue on the line. They have got 200 stations where anyone can collect water from one of the 200 stops, and you can only collect 25 litres per person per day. So day zero means the day they will switch off the water. It doesn't mean that that's the day the water will run out of Cape Town. It's the day they feel the water crisis has gone to critical levels, and they only switch off the taps and leaving the tap open to only major hospitals and the CBD for business to keep running, but they will switch off the taps for residences.
My goodness, very worrying. So how have you been forced to adapt? You have a family that you have to take care of. You have to keep your house clean. You need water to live. What sort of changes have you made in your lifestyle?
I mean, it's a very scary experience for us, because you can't imagine not being able to flush toilets and to do laundry. We do laundry here with washing machines. That's basically everyone in Cape Town. And it has meant that we have had to cut down our water usage. For example, I bathed my 2 babies in the same water, and I have to use that same water to flush toilets, or I recycle it to wash the floors, or I recycle it to just do anything else. I've also had to, most of us have had to switch to biodegradable like soap that doesn't affect vegetation or plants like that, but you can use recycled water that you use even for bathing to water our plants, or if you have any gardens outside, which are mostly dry. But it has meant that we also queue for water, drinking water, and we have piled drinking water in the house. Any space that we have now, we have just bought a lot of water to keep storing it, because when day zero arrives, I doubt that the water they're going to be giving us will be safe for drinking. So we are all buying water, and at the moment they don't allow you to buy more than 2 bottles of water per day when you go to the shop. So they only limit everyone to 2 bottles of 5 litres per day.
Okay, just 2 quick questions for you. Do you know how Cape Town got there? How did all this happen? Do you have any idea?
I mean, it's been there's a lot of politics around it, which I will not get into. But the main reason actually has been that for the last, Cape Town has experienced below average rain for the last 3 years, 2015, 2016, and 2017. This has meant 3 successive years of below average rainfall, and nobody really saw it coming. They did anticipate a wetter 2017 and a wetter 2018, which hasn't happened, and that has left the dams very critical. And this is basically the main reason, actually, you can bring down the main reason to drought in Cape Town.
Okay, fine. Last question. What has this done now for business? I know you're involved in tourism. Cape Town is known. Kenyans love to come to Cape Town, to see the sights. So what does this mean? Do tourists still want to come to a place where they're not sure if they'll have access to water?
I mean, we are also in the tourism business, and we do encourage tourists to come to Cape Town still. The government has done a lot to sensitize tourists coming in on the current water crisis. They've sensitized them everywhere in the airport. You will see alerts on how much water you're allowed to use while in Cape Town. Businesses hotels in the city center or anywhere else, they've removed the cap that holds the bath. So means tourists coming in cannot take a bath. You can only take a 2-minute shower. And they also reminded there's a lot of sensitization going around for tourists coming into Cape Town. I do not think it has critically affected the tourism industry that much. We don't have enough data to quantify how much has been affected of the tourism, but we do still see a lot of tourists coming into Cape Town. Only they are also given a lot of sensitization about the water crisis, and they're told to use the water very carefully. So we do see, there's definitely a few people we have had about concessions of people canceling their trips to Cape Town here and there, but it's not very critical at the moment.
Okay.
Have learning how to use the water with us, yeah.
Thank you so much, Joy, for finding time to be here with us and to give us that update live from Cape Town. Well, you're watching Citizen Extra. Time now for a quick break. Stay with us.
Baba Mashetani, nyamaza.
Milimani, usiwahi tajiri story hapa tena.
Na kwani utadu?
You shut up! Don't you understand that tragedy left the 3 of us scarred for life?